She doesn't tell you she's interested. She shows it. But most men are too distracted, too desperate, too eager to even see it. While you're chasing her attention, the guy she really wants, he's sitting back, calm, collected, focused. She finds reasons to walk past him. She echoes his words. She throws playful jabs to get a reaction. Not because she's mean, because she's interested. But only the man who understands this wins. And you? You're about to become that man. Comment, no more chasing if you're ready to change your life forever. You've been lied to by dating advice, movies, even your own friends. They told you when she likes you, she'll make it obvious. She'll tell you, she'll ask you out. But in reality, when a woman's interested, she moves strategically, subtly and emotionally. And if you don't recognize it, you'll blow your shot. You'll chase her the wrong way. You'll lose her. Not because you weren't good enough, but because you didn't see what was right in front of you. This isn't just about knowing when she's into you. It's about mastering presence, understanding the battlefield, becoming the man who no longer guesses, he knows. A man she studies, a man she can't ignore. So today, I'm going to expose her patterns. I'm going to hand you 3 of the most powerful truths you've never been told about women, how they act when they're genuinely into a man. But this isn't for boys playing games. This is for men ready to take back their self-respect, own their value, and stop begging for attention. So if you're tired of wondering where you stand, if you're done checking your phone like a slave to validation, if you're ready to reclaim power in your relationships and finally understand what she really wants, then this will be the most important video you will watch this year. Comment, no more chasing, to lock in. And if you're serious about changing your life and helping other men do the same, support this channel. Because every video we make is a lifeline for men who were never taught this truth. You supporting us means more men wake up, more lives get saved, and more brothers rise together. Number 1. She finds 10 reasons to be near you. If she's interested in you, she will find more ways to be close to your world than your eyes will notice, unless you're fully grounded in awareness. She might show up at the same gym, not because it's closest to her, but because it brings her closest to the emotional charge she feels when you're near. Imagine walking into your usual spot and spotting her at the squat rack again, pretending not to see you but waiting to be noticed. And yet, most men rush to speak instead of studying the repetition in her decisions, because the Stoic doesn't rush to conclusions. He gathers patterns. He recognizes that presence reveals more truth than words. And when a woman who used to stay 2 seats away now moves to sit beside you, even when the room isn't full, it's not about the chair. It's about the feeling she's drawn to. The same way you might find yourself checking the time, hoping she'll cross your path again. But the man who wins is the one who doesn't hope. He notices. He studies her effort without immediately giving in, because he understands this truth. Whoever values their time least always chases first, and the woman who suddenly begins bumping into you at odd places, showing up at your favorite bar with her friends, or even choosing the same route to class or work, isn't just exploring coincidence. She's investing quietly, and most will miss this. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they've been conditioned to expect declarations instead of signals. Yet attraction is rarely verbal, it's behavioral. And when she stays longer than necessary after a group conversation ends or asks your opinion on things she already knows the answer to, she's creating opportunities for emotional engagement, testing the waters without appearing vulnerable. But if you lean in too soon, if you confirm her influence before it's earned, you shift the balance of polarity and break the intrigue, because desire thrives in asymmetry and silence. And the moment she knows she can have you without effort, she's no longer interested in having you at all. So how do you respond when she starts rotating her orbit closer to yours? You stand firm in your center. You allow the moment to unfold without escalating it prematurely, because attention without desperation is power, and proximity without pursuit builds mystery. So when she chooses the chair next to you out of 20 empty ones, you acknowledge it internally, but hold the line externally. And when she asks you to join her and her friends, you weigh it, not to reject, but to maintain value, because a man who never pauses is a man who's never considered. And when she texts to ask where you'll be this weekend or shares her schedule unprovoked, she's not oversharing for fun. She's throwing emotional hooks to see where she lands in your priority. But if every time she sends a signal you rush to reciprocate, you've made it easy. And ease without depth loses respect. Which means when she chooses your world repeatedly, your duty is not to react. It's to remain aware, because the moment you treat her closeness as approval rather than curiosity, you lose your edge, and the man who loses his edge becomes predictable, and no woman stays curious about what's already understood. So picture this. She walks into your office space more than she needs to, each time brushing by your chair, dropping a comment that doesn't warrant a response but carries emotional bait, like, "You're always focused," or "Do you ever take breaks?" Now these aren't questions, these are invitations, but not the kind you jump on. They're the kind you allow to sit. You respond with calm presence, minimal effort, just enough to keep the door half open without stepping through it, because the moment you give her full emotional access, she'll close the door herself and pretend she never asked you in. And when she offers you snacks, coffee, a shared playlist, a meme, ask yourself, is this practicality or pattern? Is she trying to bond through shared rhythm? Because the more you learn her behavior, the more you understand that real interest is not shouted. It's shown in repetitions, in the accidents that happen too often, in the social engagements she subtly directs toward your orbit. And when she starts mentioning how she bumped into your friend, or saw your car, or passed by your favorite place. Understand the game. Not the manipulation, but the vulnerability in disguise, because she's saying, "I'm thinking of you," without ever admitting it. And the more you treat those moments as normal rather than exceptional, the more she leans in, because validation withheld breeds fascination, and attraction, once unspoken, becomes undeniable when echoed repeatedly in movement, schedule, and attention. So the next time she suddenly becomes available when you're free or chooses to work beside you, even if you're not talking, don't rush to reward it. Observe it. Don't decode her signals to validate yourself. Decode them to understand your influence. And that understanding is power, because the man who understands doesn't need to ask where he stands. He watches where she walks. And if she walks toward him again and again, that's not curiosity. It's interest expressed in motion. So be still, be aware, and be ready. Because if you respond with composure, she will escalate with clarity. But if you respond with neediness, she'll retreat in silence. And that's why the high-value man always acts like he's being watched, because he is, not by the world, but by the one woman who's wondering if his presence is real or just temporary confidence. And when you show her that your peace is unshaken by her proximity, that your focus doesn't shatter under her closeness, that your voice remains slow and deliberate, even when her perfume lingers in the air beside you, she will associate your presence with strength, and strength is magnetic to the feminine. So next time she finds a reason to sit near you, speak slower, look deeper, ask questions back without rushing to compliment, and let silence fill the space until she chooses to fill it with something more real than coincidence. Because if you can learn to let her come close without trying to own her presence, she'll make sure you never sit alone again. Number 2, she mirrors you. When a woman begins to mirror you, it's not coincidence. It's instinct. It's her subconscious aligning itself with the man she feels emotionally safe with. And emotional safety doesn't come from loud words or shallow validation. It comes from grounded presence, from the man who knows who he is and walks through life slowly, confidently, not because he needs to prove anything, but because he has nothing to hide. And you'll notice the moment she starts using your phrases in conversations, the same way she used to talk differently before she met you. But now her rhythm has shifted, her tone softened, and her vocabulary oddly familiar. And this is not just copying for flattery, it's bonding through behavioral synchronicity. It's her way of showing, I'm attuned to you, without saying it directly. And if you're unaware, you'll miss the subtle shifts. The way she begins texting the way you do, using the same emojis, matching your energy, staying quiet when you're reserved, and getting animated when you get excited. And this isn't manipulation, it's calibration. It's her adjusting her emotional wavelength to yours. And just like two instruments that start playing in harmony, her mirroring is a silent song saying, I feel you. And if you're the man who speaks with clarity, walks with steadiness, and never chases noise, she will start to crave that rhythm because it gives her something she didn't even know she needed, consistency in a world full of chaos. So imagine this. You're in a group, sharing a story, your arms crossed as you lean into your words, and as you glance at her, you see she's crossed hers too, not in defiance but in sync, and moments later you scratch your chin while thinking, and 5 seconds later she does the same. And again, it's not mimicry for attention, it's her body speaking to your presence, echoing you because she's drawn in, and the reason this happens is simple. Our biology is programmed to bond with what feels strong and stable, and when a woman sees that you do not react emotionally to every impulse, she begins to lean into that emotional gravity, and her nervous system calibrates to yours, and though she may not be aware of what's happening, she will feel the difference, like she breathes deeper when you're near, or finds her voice more calm around you. And this is when she starts to mirror not just your body language, but your life principles, your habits, your values. The things you mention casually in conversation start appearing in her actions. A new book she's reading, a mindset she quotes back to you, a decision she makes that echoes your perspective. And this is when you realize that attraction isn't just chemistry, it's transmission. It's energetic influence turning into imitation. And now the power is in how you carry that influence. Do you remain the same man when she mirrors you, or do you shift to match her because you're insecure about leading? Because real leadership in relationships doesn't demand obedience. It attracts alignment. And when you walk through the world grounded in self-respect, she will start to build her emotional responses around you. Not because she's submissive, but because she trusts your frame. And the moment you start noticing her laughter matches your timing, or her focus sharpens when you're around, understand that you've become her reference point. And that's not a role you take lightly. It's a role you own through consistency. And as she adapts to your lifestyle, you'll see her change her schedule slightly to match yours. You'll notice her starting to speak about your goals like they're hers, using words like we instead of you. And that's a quiet confession of investment. And this is where most men go wrong. They confuse mirroring for submission and start becoming complacent, or worse, arrogant. And that's when she disconnects. Because the moment you make her feel like her emotional openness is a weakness, she'll retreat to her defenses and disconnect the alignment. So when you see her shifting toward your rhythm, you treat it with silent respect. You don't mention it. You don't tease it. You don't question it. You hold your line and strengthen the path. And that's when the bond deepens, because what you're building isn't just interest. It's resonance. It's the invisible harmony that forms when two energies move in the same direction. And if you want to sustain this, you stay still inside. You don't chase. You don't rush. You simply notice. And when she sends a message using a phrase you used days ago, you smile inwardly, because that's her way of saying, I'm listening. And when she adjusts her social media style to match yours subtly, your filters, your quotes, your style, it's not a branding choice. It's her trying to enter your world without knocking, and that kind of interest is rare, it's sacred, and it only happens when a man is so deeply rooted in his self-respect that he becomes the standard. And in a world where most men lose themselves chasing her attention, she will chase the man who gives her something she's never felt before. Stability that invites reflection, calm that sharpens identity, and clarity that removes emotional fog. So when she starts to mirror your boundaries, how you say no, how you hold space without explaining, how you stay firm in uncomfortable moments, understand you've become her mirror, and she's not just copying your actions, she's absorbing your philosophy, and that's how influence works. It doesn't yell, it echoes. It leaves fingerprints on her decisions without needing permission, and your job as a man is to remain unmoved by the mimicry while appreciating its significance, because it's proof that your presence is powerful, and real power isn't loud, it's subtle, it moves slowly, it shapes minds without demanding attention. And in your relationships, when she starts sharing your thoughts before you speak, starts defending your principles in conversations, starts making sacrifices without being asked, you don't reward her with praise, you reward her with presence, because your consistency is her safety, and your silence is her confirmation. And if you ever wondered what real influence looks like, it's when a woman begins to mirror your discipline, your focus, your restraint, not to impress you, but because it feels like home, and the deepest parts of her being know it. So you never have to say, I lead, because your life will say it for you, and she will follow not because she must, but because she chooses to. And that's when you know her reflection is not imitation, it's alignment. Number 3. She playfully teases you. When a woman playfully teases you, she's not being mean, she's being emotionally vulnerable in the only way she knows how without risking full exposure, because teasing is the safe zone where attraction and testing overlap. And this is where her deeper nature speaks. She wants to provoke, to get a reaction, not because she wants chaos, but because she wants connection. And the teasing is her emotional radar pinging your strength, checking to see if you fold, laugh, challenge back, or maintain frame. Because every smirk, every sarcastic jab, every mock challenge is coded curiosity, a question she's asking in real time. Are you man enough to handle me at my most playful, most raw, most chaotic? Or will you become the fragile ego who mistakes her affection for attack and fumbles the moment she offers her spirit disguised in sarcasm? And what many men misunderstand is that her teasing isn't a joke. It's a message, and she's watching closely, looking for the subtle shift in your energy when she calls you Mr. Serious, or mocks your haircut, or challenges your opinion in front of others. And if you crumble, if you act hurt, if you retaliate with bitterness or try to explain yourself, she knows you're emotionally weak, and no matter how attractive you are or how much she once liked you, that one failure can close the door, because in that moment you showed her that her energy overwhelms you, that her feminine chaos breaks your balance. But if instead you smile, if you lean in, if you return the volley with poise, with a sharper tease or a moment of silence that says, I've danced this dance before, now she sees something rare, emotional security, the kind that doesn't flinch under pressure and doesn't react just to stay liked, and you become the man she's been waiting to meet, the one who welcomes her unpredictable spark without trying to contain it or kill it. And think about this. How often has a woman teased you out of nowhere, poked at something you said, made light fun of your shoes, your drink, your style, and you took it personally, thinking she was being rude when in fact she was throwing you a golden opportunity to build polarity? And most men waste that moment because they're too focused on being liked instead of being respected. And that's the difference. Respect is earned when you hold your frame under fire, when you meet chaos with calm and play with it like a lion with a toy, not to dominate, but to show control. And this dynamic plays out everywhere. The office girl who always corrects your grammar with a smirk, the barista who always jokes about your order, the classmate who mocks your punctuality. These aren't insults. They're windows into her interest. And when you understand this language, you stop taking offense and start building tension. And that tension is the lifeblood of attraction, because comfort without tension becomes friendship. But comfort with tension becomes desire. And when she teases you again and again, you don't overthink it. You don't react with forced cleverness. You let your presence speak louder than your punchlines. You respond with stillness or with wit so dry she's unsure if you're serious, because the goal isn't to win the joke. The goal is to let her feel your composure, and your composure should be so strong that even her most biting tease bounces off you like a pebble on armor. And when she sees that, when her emotional jab doesn't disturb your peace, she knows you're different, she knows you're solid, and she starts investing deeper, teasing more, because teasing is her way of saying, I want you to notice me, and your responsibility is to notice her without inflating her, to accept her playful storm without shrinking, and to give her just enough challenge in return to let her feel that you're engaged without being conquered. And this can look like a sideways smile when she mocks you, or a one-word response that makes her laugh at herself, or a slow pivot in conversation that shows you're not fazed. And if you do this right, you become magnetic, because you're the one man who doesn't need validation, doesn't need approval, doesn't need to defend himself. And that kind of energy is addictive to women who live in a world full of men trying to gain favor by agreeing, apologizing, and conforming. And your teasing back shouldn't be mean or forced. It should be rooted in fun, in presence, in mischief, like you're both kids in a sandbox daring each other to break the rules. And when the teasing becomes mutual, when the rhythm between you feels like a private language, that's when you know you've reached a level most never touch. And it all started with her playful attack, her emotional invitation, and your response not to shrink, not to explain, not to retaliate, but to match her, without losing yourself. And this is the core of Stoic emotional strength, not avoiding emotion, but standing in it like a mountain stands in weather, unmoved yet aware, and she'll come back again, with a sharper tease, a deeper poke, and she'll test again, because women don't test because they're cruel. They test because they're drawn. And if you want her to stay drawn, you stay grounded, you stay playful, you stay present. And when she finally pauses and smiles, really smiles, that's when you know she sees you. Not just the face you wear, but the strength you carry. And that's when the teasing stops being a test and starts being a celebration, a dance between energies that trust each other enough to poke and laugh and return and deepen. And if you can hold that dance without flinching, without chasing, without trying to prove yourself, she will keep coming back, because there's nothing more attractive to the feminine than a man who can handle her most chaotic self and still remain composed. I'm putting together something that I know will change lives. The most powerful step-by-step relationship guide ever created for men, grounded in the timeless Stoic principles that have withstood every era, every culture, and every storm. This isn't just another ebook. This is the blueprint, and it's for every man who's tired of guessing, tired of giving his energy to the wrong people, and ready to reclaim his power, rebuild his standards, and become the kind of man women don't just desire, but respect, admire, and never forget. This guide will walk you through the exact mindset shifts, emotional disciplines, and practical strategies to transform your relationships and your life from the inside out. From how you walk, to how you respond, to how you attract without chasing, you'll master it all, because attraction isn't about tricks, it's about truth, and truth is power. If you've resonated with anything in this video, if you're done watching from the sidelines, if you're ready to finally step into the version of yourself you've always known was buried under the noise, then this is for you. Comment blueprint below if you want me to send you this ebook the moment it drops. You'll be the first to get access before anyone else. And if this video spoke to something deep inside you, support this mission. Every like, every comment, every share isn't just for the algorithm. It's for the millions of men out there who are still in the dark, still chasing instead of choosing, still doubting their worth instead of owning it. By supporting this channel, you help bring this message to them. You become the reason another man wakes up. We're building a brotherhood of strength, a movement of clarity, a legacy of men who walk with truth, lead with calm, and speak with power.